Hi, welcome to Rachie OT Mum. I was feeling a bit self-conscious, so I wasn't actually gonna do a video today. You can see I've actually got shingles on my face, and yeah. But I'm busy reading Brené Brown's book Daring Greatly, and she speaks a lot about. Well, it is basically about vulnerability and showing vulnerability and honesty and sincerity. And I started off this whole Rachie OT Mum social media platform with the idea that I wanted to be sincere and honest and real and not try and make motherhood something glamorous and perfect, which it's not. So I gave myself a little bit of a talking to, and I said that I would do this today. Because this is what motherhood sometimes looks like, right? I'm exhausted. I've had 5 exhausting years, and I have, through that, been quite run down and tired, and I have acquired recurring shingles, and this time it's come to my face, and it's itchy and it's sore and it's horrible, and sometimes that's what motherhood looks like. So I was going to talk about something else, and then this whole thing got me thinking about perfection and how we strive so much for perfection and for this polished, shiny, glossy look of things. And we want it for our lives, we want it for our families, we want it for our children. And that it's really ridiculous because it actually just leaves most of us feeling inadequate because perfection it's not real. So I thought today I would talk about accepting just being good enough to move on, good enough to do what you need to do to meet the need in the present. And it's really come to light for me. I read an interesting article about making mistakes and how you should teach your children to make mistakes. And I feel like I do that all right. You know, when my boys make mistakes, I'm always like, well, let's talk through the mistake. Or if they try something and they don't get it right the first time, I'm like, okay, we can try again. And, you know, I thought I kind of had that down pat. But Joe's developed this awareness of not getting things right and not wanting to try things because of that. So we're having this little ongoing struggle with the bicycle. He could ride a bike. We had a smaller bike he could ride. Now he's got a bigger bike and he won't get on it. And he sees other children in the neighborhood riding, and I know he wants to ride, but he just won't do it. And he definitely won't do it if there's anyone else around. And I was chatting to Andrew about it, and I was like, where does this fear of failure come from with him? And then I was reading an article the other day on making mistakes, and they were saying how, you know, it's all very well encouraging your children, telling them that they can make mistakes, but how do you treat yourself when you make your mistakes as a parent? And not only with regard to parenting. And it's quite interesting because I'm definitely not forgiving of myself when I make a mistake. I get really irritated with myself, especially if it's about a parenting thing. I reflect on it, and then I ruminate about it, and then I think if I should have done it differently, and I apologize for it. And so it's all very well me telling my children that it's okay for them to make mistakes, but I'm expecting myself to do things perfectly every time. So from that comes this concept of good enough and just being good enough. And it's okay to just try your best, and it's okay to make a mistake. And I often joke, like, my children will do something, or I'll walk into my house and it'll such a mess, and I often joke, and I'm like, oh, I have no standards anymore. I've become a mother. Like, my standards are really low. You just lower your standards. And it's funny and it's a joke. But it's not actually about lowering your standards. It's not about striving for anything less, but it is about accepting that things don't have to be perfect, and they can just be good enough. And sometimes being good enough allows you to move on, and trying to be perfect actually holds you back. So I've been working a lot on this, and I've been trying to not apologize for not being perfect. I apologize when I make mistakes for the mistake, but just to try and not take that so much on board. because I really know that unless my children start seeing that I'm okay with making mistakes and learning and showing them that it's what you do when you make a mistake that really counts, they're never going to accept themselves when they make mistakes. And we all make mistakes. It's human, and none of us are perfect. So that's what I've been thinking about this week. So I thought I would just put that forward and share that. So thank you. Have a wonderful week.